I don't even know where to begin. It's a damn disaster. I didn't even read the book, but I have a feeling people are going to be pissed. Actually, do you know where I'm going to start at? Do you see this guy over here? Do you see him? Do you mean to tell me you get to mostly pick out what you're going to look like when you're considered pretty? And this guy's plan was to use a reference picture of the Jasper Twilight doll as his inspiration. Not making fun of the actor, they did him dirty, my God. Number 2, I am convinced they spent no money on background or props or costumes or anything. I am 1000% certain everything used to make this movie was hand-me-down from a warehouse holding all either the Marvel shit or the Hunger Games shit or the Divergent shit. Because why do all the costumes look like they're left over from the Hunger Games Mockingjay? Like half the costumes the Uglies are wearing look like they were from District 13 specifically. Like the city that the Pretties live in looks almost identical to, it's either Xander or maybe the Pan Am capital city. I'm feeling like it's Xander, but we've definitely seen it before. I can't put my thumb on exactly what city it is. But we've 1000% seen it before. And then anything that's not the city looks like the Divergent set. Which is a really interesting concept considering, do y'all remember when they were supposed to make a 4th Divergent movie and then they never did? I'm wondering if maybe they just got everything at like a lot sale. Like everything was there to make the 4th Divergent and then they didn't, so they sent it to this instead. But let's move on. What is the Uglies about? The first thing you should know, it's a book. It's actually a book series that was made for like middle and high schoolers. I never got to read it because it was always checked out, and then I entered my Twilight phase and that settled that. And the movie is directed by somebody who only goes by Mick G. Not even a full name, just 3 letters, Mick G. But anyways, so the planet was dying from using too many fossil fuels. And then scientists made some sort of way for them to have alternative energy so that they don't have to use fossil fuels anymore. And you're like, wow, how did they do it? Well, there was a picture of a flower that was like blooming on screen when she said it. But I thought it was just a like metaphor for the earth growing back and being healthy again. But it turns out the flower itself is supposed to be the alternative energy. Which, like, how do you harvest energy from the flower? I mean, you could say it's light energy, but there were already solar panels, and they made a point of saying that they were using solar panels in the movie for a helicopter. So why did we need to genetically engineer a whole flower for that? I mean, you could argue that maybe the flowers were just grown to, like, clean out the air, which they weren't. They were actually, like, poisonous and toxic and shit. But, like, even if that was your argument, we still don't know where the alternative energy is coming from if they're not using fossil fuels, but whatever. Anyway, so they make this flower, and then the world is good again. But the problem is people have cultures and different beliefs and different backgrounds, and apparently that is not good for only this one particular city. I thought this was like a full country thing, like Hunger Games, but no, it's one particular city. Are there more cities? I don't know. So what do? They call all the children Uglies and put them in, like, basically they look like these smart jail cells in a boarding school or whatever, and when they turn 16, they can get plastic surgery, and then they can move to the city and be pretties. The only problem is they're also lobotomizing people when they give them the cosmetic surgery. Listen, I wouldn't choose it for everybody, but you mean to tell me I can have breast implants and a lobotomy? Consider me sold. Candy, you would lose your entire personality. You wouldn't be you anymore. Here's the thing, if I had a better personality, I would be paid for this and I would have 10,000 followers, but I do not. Because my personality is shit. Let me be the bimbo of my dreams. Moving on. So this girl named Tally is friends with this guy they call Nose. And it's Nose's 16th birthday, so he gets to be pretty. And then she was like, we're still going to be friends, but she never hears from him anymore. And they were supposed to meet at the bridge so they could hang out, but, like, he never answers. So she decides to, like, sneak into the pretty city and nearly gets caught. And while she's running back, she makes friends with Shay, who has, like, a hover skateboard thing. And they become really fast friends, like, really fast friends. And they're always, like, skateboarding and sneaking out using her weird, like, smart ring that unhooks or whatever. Hers is, like, jailbroke. Now, I don't know if she jailbroke it herself, if it's just broken. Don't know, and don't worry because it's not important. But also Shay and Tally have the same birthday, so they were supposed to be pretties together. But Shay decided she wanted to run off with this man named Dave to live in the smoke. And Tally's like, don't do that, we can be pretties together. And Shay's like, that sounds fucking awful, but just in case you change your mind, here is a note with a code only you'll know on how to get to the smoke. Now the thing about Shay is that Shay was supposed to go with some other friends before she met Tally, but she chickened out, right? And when Shay and Tally go that night, they're still like on the edge of the city making fire to call for Dave to lead them to the smoke, or at least lead Shay to the smoke. Meaning he picked her up at the beginning. So when she made this note map quizzical thing for Tally to get there, how the hell did she know the fucking trail? How did she already know how to get there? And how did Tally manage to understand absolutely everything? Like, she reads the note out loud, it just sounds like a big poem, but she managed to go through the whole trail by herself to find the smoke. And everybody is so surprised. They're like, how did you do that? Nobody ever gets through the trail by themselves. Well, apparently somebody has, if Shay was able to make like a whole ass cryptic zodiac message for her. And then we find out that they're called the smoke because they go around lighting those fields of those flowers on fire. Because apparently these flowers actually release toxins into the air and they're killing everybody. But don't worry, that wasn't like a super big deal. There's a bigger deal. Because like I said before, they're lobotomizing people. Well, they're calling them brain lesions in the frontal cortex. And those were designed. And Dave's parents, who were doctors like when everything originally started, are trying to make a cure to fix the brain lesions, but they don't have the nanosynth or whatever that is. That's still in the city. And they don't have anybody to test this on. And then these pretties with super soldier powers show up. And there's a big fight. Tally, Dave, Shay, and Dave's mom get captured and they're taken back to the city. Shay's turned pretty. The rest are almost turned pretty until this other guy shows up with a helicopter and shoots everything, which is he did really good in his timing, because what if they had been like halfway through a fucking Brazilian butt lift and then you only have one big ass cheek? That's going to throw your center of gravity all off. You know, if you were in the middle of like a facelift. Have you ever seen like a full facelift? They have to like chop off or peel back your face and pull it up and all that. What if they had been in the middle of that and now your face is falling off as you're running and it looks like Repo the Genetic Opera? But they get away and they manage to get some nanosynth. Now they have all the components to undo the medical lobotomy, but they don't have anyone to test it on because Shay doesn't want to be turned back ugly. So Tally's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself and I'm going to have him make me pretty. Then you can test it on me. So yeah, she's turned pretty and now she has an apartment. I don't know if she's going back or not. The end. Now, did I like it? This might be the campiest thing I have seen in a long ass time. The CGI is bad. The script is bad. I'm fairly certain everything is just reused from another movie. I still don't know if those flowers are going to play a bigger problem later on. Everybody made some really dumb choices. So like in the fucking last Zodiac map, Tally has to wait in the field at night. It's like the field of white, field of snow, whatever. And it turns out to be those damn flowers. Well, she waits in the field and she fell asleep. The field Dave lit on fire and then rescued Tally. And he only knew she was there because of her tracker. Okay, so did your tracker not go off before you lit the fire? Or did you not check your tracker before you lit the fire? I mean, it's a good thing she didn't die of smoke inhalation. And then she like rips off this necklace that was given to her by this Dr. Cable person who's like the mayor or whatever of the city, and puts it in the fire right outside Dave's parents' house, knowing they could track her with it. You couldn't have yeeted it. You couldn't have stalked away in the night and like threw it off a cliff or some shit. You had to put it right there, right in front of the house. Ma'am, I don't trust you to run the Domino's tracking app. And nothing against Laverne Cox, but this would have been infinitely funnier had it been Tyra Banks. This is a 3 out of 10. This is awful. They just did him so dirty. 3 out of 10. Okay, bye. Got a tummy tuck and no thoughts. Just party. My wish for you.